Time for another YouTube video, and I've got a few small changes today. One of the changes is just going back to the old lens I used to be using for my YouTube videos. I've got here my Panasonic 14mm pancake with the wide angle adapter on it, rather than my usual ultra wide 8mm lens, because I'm actually loaning it out to a friend just for the last few days because he's shooting his apartment to sell it and he wants like that really wide angle look, because that makes a place look bigger. It's good for the real estate ads. Anyway, so yeah, a bit of a tighter framing now. And another change is it's a very, very windy day, as you can probably see from my hair being blown all over the place. And yes, it's so windy, rather than just using my aperture lav by itself, I thought even with the wind protection my beard gives it, maybe I just put a bit more extra wind protection I just wrapped around the lav I've got under my shirt. Anyway, running that straight into my Panasonic G6 is normal, and yeah, because one of the downsides of the Panasonic G6 is I don't actually have headphone output, so I can't actually monitor how it's sounding, but yeah, fingers crossed like the wind is not blowing it out. Anywho, I'm going to be talking about the shoot I'm doing. It's sort of this comedy skit web series I'm doing for a couple of friends of mine who are the directors, and we've been shooting across the road inside that house, somewhere over there. And now they are shooting behind me over in the playground somewhere over there, wherever. And yeah, they don't need me for this last shot of the day in the playground because that's going to be all MOS, so no need for the sound. So I'll talk a bit about my setup for today with all the stuff. So it was like a pretty intense day because I maxed out my whole recorder. There were 7 people all talking in the scene. And yeah, and I had, let's see, yeah, so but plus you add on my boom, that makes up for all 8 tracks on the Zoom F8n maxed out. And so yeah, you can see down here I've got all these lavs that I was using. And so yeah, so my lavs, I've got like these Sony ones and my Electrosonics ones here as well, and so yeah, mixture of that stuff. Oh yeah, I had a mixture of timecode boxes being used as well, because yeah, one Ultrasync and one original Tentacle. The reason that I didn't just use Ultrasyncs or just use Tentacle is because yeah, they're shooting with a couple of weird ones, although they mixed in a GH5 now and then. In fact, for the last setup here in the park, they're actually using 2 GH5s. Anyway, rambling on. What was I saying? So yeah, so the input, the LEMO connection for the Red one is this. And I've got one of these for each of my different timecode systems. One for the Ultrasync and one kind for the Tentacle. So if I need to run it with 2 cameras, I've got to use both of the cables, one for each system, and that's why I'm using this mixture of Tentacles and Ultrasync together, because of course they can work together. They're just sending out the standard that you get for timecodes. Oh yeah, a little bit of a quirk I had today was for one of them, it was this one. Yeah, we were sort of jamming it into the Red one and it wasn't being picked up by it at all. Now the problem was, and I sort of remembered when I was trying to troubleshoot, was that on the previous shoot, somebody had unscrewed the end here and just sort of had it come loose, and I sort of quickly put it back together when I was packing up. And so that means these 5 connectors inside the LEMO connection, the 5 pins I mean, they weren't orientated correctly to match up with sort of the grooves on the side of the LEMO connection. And so yeah, a bit of trouble figuring around. We worked out what is the right way to get them all lined up correctly so you were having the right pins being sent to. But basically we had to tighten this back up again as tight as possible, then like an extra half turn, and then we had the 5 pins at the end orientated correctly. Anyway, enough about that. So anyway, let's look at my bag here, because the maxed out bag. So, oh yeah, at the moment we can see, oh, let's just increase the exposure a little bit, and we can see what we've got going on here. So you can see I have got my display here. You see it looks kind of white rather than the normal colors screen. I mean, it's got colors here, it's got all the weird and the arm tracks, and it's got the green up there for the battery levels. But yeah, basically it's kind of turned into a bit of a black and white display. That's the outdoor mode in the F8n, and it really does make it a lot easier to sort of see what's going on. But some days it's so bright still, the outdoor mode is not enough. So a very quick way to work around that is just simply put this bit of paper around. Just grab a bit of paper on the side, curl it around, and that acts as like a sort of sunscreen. And yeah, sun shield. It's yeah, does the job quickly and easily for nothing. And anyway, enough about that point. So anyway, you can see I've got out on the outsides sort of my Sonys here, and sitting inside, you know, in my outside pockets, the Sonys. Yeah, they're more lightweight, so it's a good idea if you want to put them a bit further out on the edges, while closer to your body. You know, I keep the heavier receivers, which are these little Sonics here. So this one, it's a UCR 190, that's a UCR 10D, and this is a UCR 200 or something from memory. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm powering each of these externally, and so I've changed my setup a little bit from maybe last time I showed off my bag. Oh no, actually my previous video I showed it, but yeah, so I'm just showing this again. And so yeah, I'm powering my bag with this Sony BPU 60 battery, which I quite like because you got the check light. You can see, hey, I've still got 2 bars left from today out of 4. So I didn't get to again today. It was a kind of a short day. And yeah, so for most of the day when we were shooting indoors, you know, this bag has got to be pretty heavy now. I just let it sit down on a table right in front of me, and then I just boomed or listened from there, you know, because I have quite a long cord here for my headphones. No need to break your back unnecessarily. And also it gives you a bit more freedom of movement if you need to get up and run and check on a lav or fetch some batteries or whatever. You're not being sort of tied down as a big lumbering beast when you're trying to like run through and do stuff quickly. So it's actually quite freeing to just have that set up. Plus, as I said, from a health perspective, it's better for your back. But of course, when I went outdoors for the shooting, then of course I was wearing my harness. I got like this heavy duty Petrol harness is the brand name, although Petrol's been bought out so they don't exist anymore. There we go, Petrol. I think they're owned by Satchler now. Anyway, yeah, I really like this harness. Anyway, what was I going about? Yeah, so I'm powering my receivers here by external battery power. So basically on the very bottom of them, if I was to pull it up, it's a bit stuck because it's obviously got the, okay, here we go. So you can kind of see there is the, there is the XLR connection that goes out, and then this here is what plugs into the side to power it. Yep, and so there's this sort of powering point on the side. There you go, there's that input for external power. And that's like, yeah. Cool. What am I saying now? Right, and so then for the powering, so I've got the D-tap and high-rise coming out of this battery plate on the back of the BPU 60. I've bought some BPU 60s that actually have a D-tap built into the side of it, so I'm quite looking forward to that. That'll be like a backup option just in case, you know, if this battery plate ever goes missing or broken or whatever, I can still be using D-tap out of my batteries because it'll have it built into it. Another backup option for me. Anyway, this is going out of there. Unclip this thing, it's all a bit, just come down to it, it's all a bit tight. So, this has got me the switch on the top. There we go, focus. There you go, and see, you know, I can flick this off, off, on. It's quite a firm switch, it's not going to happen accidentally. And yeah, this is the Cable Techniques Battery Bud 2. And so you can see here, this is going for my battery. I'm going into it, the high-rise connections, that stays firmly locked in. And then I've got 5 high-rise outputs. One of those high-rise outputs is going into my recorder, and you can see here on my recorder it like tells me the battery level of what I got left here, the voltage, and then the other two are going over here to charge up, to power my ultrasonics receivers. Anyway, enough talking about this, I'm rambling on. What else can I say? Oh yeah, for today I was using my DRT S-Mic 2, DRT S-Mic 2, although I really should use a much stronger shock mount with it than this. But anyway, I mostly was just booming inside using my AKG CK63 with the 460B powering unit. So I didn't really use this too much outdoors. We just had like a little bit of moments to grab while we're outdoors. Anyway, stuff. Let's just wrap this up and yep, bye-bye.
Yeah, just tell me to focus. Focus.
Light or no light?
Cool.
I think it would be nice to have the eye light overhead just on low, please.
What about eyes?
Toe